In the NEC's wisdom, they chose a Chinese contractor instead of the Sepik contractor, the local contractor. As a result, the Australians decided to withdraw the 100 million that was allocated for that section of the road.
I want to say, whilst I have every respect for the Australian program, the HSSP program, we've seen in the Bulolo, for instance, they come in the gravelling and temporary maintenance approach.
The Honourable Governor for East Speak.
Thank you, Mr. Deputy Speaker. My question, without notice, I direct to the Honourable Prime Minister in his capacity as the Chairman of NEC. And since the question involves a range of matters concerning the Department of Justice, the Department of Treasury and the Department of Works, I request the relevant ministers to please take note. Firstly, Mr. Deputy Speaker, I want to place on record my appreciation that even though we were the last to be recognized in the Connect PNG program, I wish to express the gratitude of myself and my people for the launching that the Prime Minister and his executive team did on their recent visit to my province for both East and West Sepik. Whilst I'm grateful, there were a number of issues, and Mr. Deputy Speaker, as you can appreciate, time lo yumi lo talk amamas, time lo ask him question, Parliament and plus lo ask him all this question. Let me preface by stating that in 2026, in the budget that we approved, there was 1.7 billion for works. Out of that, 690 million was specifically for Connect PNG. I note that we approved a borrowing of 1.6 billion in this year's budget, and the Treasurer gave an undertaking, Mr. Speaker, that next year we will have a balanced budget, which means no borrowing. Now, recently, in addition to the almost 2 billion kina for East and West Sepik that was announced by the Honourable Prime Minister and his executive team in Maprik and in Wewak and in Ngoram, there was also a 1.6 billion kina road, which I think is the largest in our history in terms of the contract size, for Abao to Alotau. So if we add all of this, that's almost 3.6 billion in roads that were announced around the same time and contracts were awarded, Mr. Speaker. My first question is in relation to the Sepik roads. Part of the announcement included the Passam to Maprik road, which was awarded more than 12 months ago. Now, I traveled on that road several times last week, and I can say that the contractor still has not commenced work, Mr. Deputy Speaker. Now, I understand that for that particular road, the Australians under the TSSP program had allocated 100 million kina in funding. A local Sepik contractor was selected and recommended to the NEC. In the NEC's wisdom, they chose a Chinese contractor instead of the Sepik contractor, the local contractor. As a result, the Australians decided to withdraw the 100 million that was allocated for that section of the road. Now, as of now, in my opinion and in the opinion of many Sepiks who use that road, that contractor has not performed. So my first question is, can the NEC rescind its decision and utilize the Australian funding as originally intended, or has that money now been withdrawn? My second question, why was a Chinese contractor preferred over a Papua New Guinean, in fact a Sepik contractor, who met the very stringent requirements of the Australian government and won the contract on their own merits? Question 3, for the coastal road from Wewak to Aitape, there is still need for work to be done because that is our only international highway that is expected to link us to Jayapura in Indonesia, West Papua. Can the PM inform my people of Wewak when he expects that road to come into the program? Question 4, I note during the announcement by the good Minister for Works and the good Prime Minister that these 3.6 billion kina in contracts awarded across Sepik and from Abao to Alotau are a new design. Well, certainly in my knowledge, it's a new design in terms of the modality. These contracts are design, finance, and build. What that means is that the contractor will design the road to our standards, supervised by Works. They will find the money to pay for that road, and they will build it. And therefore, a liability is created into the future. In the case of these types of contracts, who carries the liability? Does the state carry the liability on its books, or does the contractor who is taking out the loan carry the liability? Question 5. At what point does that liability become a PNG state liability? Is it during the award of the contract, during the construction phase, or at practical completion? Question 6. Where do we hold the debt, Mr. Deputy Speaker? Does Treasury put the debt into arrears? Or where does it put it? Because if it puts it into the arrears, then that liability is kept off the books, because the liabilities under the arrears, which I think totals about 6 to 8 billion kina, have never been brought onto the books. And as you know, Mr. Deputy Speaker, I've raised that issue numerous times. They are still off the books. So if you are going to add them onto the arrears, because I can see that that's the only logical place to put them, given that in the 1.7 billion announced for works this year, there's already 100 million allocated for arrears. Hence the question. Question 7. Since these roads are financed by a contractor, these roads rather, they are technically loans. Is the government intending to bring to Parliament a document for the approval of this 3.6 billion kina loan? If it doesn't require parliamentary approval, can the Prime Minister give an undertaking to provide an advice from the Department of Justice that it does not require parliamentary approval? Question 8. I understand that there are just over 7 billion kina in current Connect PNG roads under construction. And I note that from the presentation by the Chairman for Public Accounts yesterday. Now, this latest announcement of 3.6 billion would take the number over 10 billion. When, in the timeline of this country going into the future, does the government expect to pay for these design, finance, and build contracts? Mr. Speaker, I acknowledge that these are highly technical questions and would understand if the PM would like these questions in writing, and I am happy to send them to the clerk. Thank you, Mr. Deputy Speaker.
The Honourable Prime Minister.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Deputy Speaker. Whilst I do not have the privilege of an advanced question to sequence my flow of answer, I'll try to be succinct as well as try to reply to the principles of the questions that was asked. And in due time, if he cares to suit me entire verbatim of his questions, then we will get an appropriate reply through a ministerial statement or a reply in due course. But firstly, I want to say that thank you to the people of East Sepik for wonderful hospitality, including his own self, who was there, accompanying me in both instances in Maprik and in Aguram. Both of these two locations are particularly for us in Pangu Party, our spiritual home. Maprik is the headquarters of the late Sir Peter Luce, who's been a party stalwart since 1964 and who was instrumental in ushering in Grand Chief into politics in 1968. And so it is more fitting that as the present Pangu leader, I do station myself in those two locations to pay homage to two of the founding fathers of not just Pangu, but more importantly our country as it is today. The people of Sepik, East Sepik or East and West Sepik, do deserve enabling infrastructures. The two provinces has one of the greatest potential to unbundling a rural economy, and especially the type of economy we want for our country, or this administration wants for our country going forward, that is pinned against land, people, and where resources are. The East and West Sepik together, put together, is, in my view, is bigger than the entire 7 Highlands provinces. You could easily fit the 7 Highlands provinces into that space. Over 80,000 square kilometers of land is the size of the two provinces put together. So they deserve those enabling infrastructures. We have close to 2 billion kina worth of infrastructure contracts issued, especially roads, not to mention the airports that we are working upon. And I want to say that the forestry, the fisheries, the inland fisheries, the agriculture, the tourism space in those two areas are second to none, including the land access to Jayapura. Right now, Vainamo is the land bridge from PNG into Southeast Asia through Jayapura. So it is strategic. It is a place that needs intervention. On the issue on East and West Sepik Highway, Coastal Highway, I think it's currently covered under the Connect PNG Stage 1 radar. It's a program within Stage 1. I'll have to refresh myself from works where a contract has been issued, but from what I know of, the work happening from the eastern side as well as the western side to approach the center of that strategic highway. So I'll get the Minister concerned to update us later on. On the Hawaiian Bridge that has not been worked upon, for the benefit of East and West Sepik and the greater country, there are some landowner related issues that stopped the work from being expeditious, but I think those issues have been attended to. I'd like to place my record appreciation to the Honourable Stanley Zamban, who had a hand in making sure that the landowner issues are resolved, and work is starting again. Hawaiian Bridge would have one of a unique sort of design overlay that should be part of that construct of East and West Sepik Highway going forward. The question relating, the first question relating to Maprik Wiwek or Passam to Maprik Highway, I want to say, whilst I have every respect for the Australian program, the HSSP program, we've seen in the Bulolo, for instance, they come in the gravelling and temporary maintenance approach. We feel some of these roads deserve a permanent restoration, not temporary maintenance. So respectfully, we've had word with Australian government in the grant and aid program that rehabilitation is okay, but we want permanent restoration. And so just like Bulolo, I was accused, our government was accused that we are tampering with that contract delay. It wasn't so. From 2021, 2022, we were asking to overlay. If we're spending 66 million kina on just maintenance, rather 5 kilometer or 6 kilometer or 10 kilometers sealed and permanently done up than just surface maintenance that erodes again in the next rain that runs through. So Maprik, Passam to Maprik came in the same focus. Instead of just overrun in maintenance that will be eroding in 2 or 3 years, we want a permanent restoration. And I do apologize to the people of Central Sepik who use this road. It's an important vanilla, cacao, and people road. We thought that a permanent reconstruction is better than just a rehabilitation. So that's why the Australian support in maintenance was pulled back, and we overlaid. We brought Connect PNG to the picture just to make sure that that economic road was given a total restoration, and that is within the scope. From that on, the Maprik Warasiga all the way to Lumi Road was overlaid, and it's all within that envelope of Connect PNG Stage 1. I want to indicate to this country we are also pushing into Stage 2. We step back. Connect PNG has a 20-year focus. Even if the Marape Rosso government or Pangu government is not in office next year, I want to advise the government from 2027 onwards, never abandon road connectivity to your people. Our people must be connected by road. Economists put it that 1 kilometer of road invested, or one kina of road invested on a road, as a return to the economy of 4 kina. So it's a multiple return to the economy in as far as when road construction is concerned. So, Mr. Speaker, the entire Stage 1 is an envelope of close to 7 to 8 billion kina. So we're pushing to the ceiling of Stage 1. But we also, through our government, asking works to, because the need is ever present. And we want to cover all part of our country as much as possible, leaving no place behind. We have few areas like the East and West Sepik is now covered with, especially the main economic arteries, the main roads. We have few main substantial arteries that remain to be covered. Example, crossover from Magi Highway into Oro, or running from Baya Hagen to Medang, or unlocking from Karamui to Bundi all the way to Medang. Those major arteries that remains to be unlocked, all in all, south side, from north side to south side of New Britain Highway, fully completing east to West Manus, etc. This is what I call the economic arteries of our country. These were people, forestry, cacao, oil palm, coffee, and agriculture. So these roads are economic roads. We can't be playing politics. We can't be saying it's Marape's dream. It is our national dream. No one thought it was feasible to drive from Port Moresby to Alotau. We did that before September 16 last year. 2 years ago, I drove from Kikori into Hagen for the first time. Today, mothers from Kikori are selling crabs and prawns. I interviewed a councillor in Kikori, a woman councillor, I forgot her name, God bless her. She told me when I visited her 1 year later, one Christmas later, by the way, Kikori has become my favorite place to visit now. So she told me, Mr. Prime Minister, thank you for this road. I now earn 16 to 20,000 kina a week or a trip, selling crabs, sagos, betel nuts in Yelibu and Mount Hagen. And so this is an indication that when road opens, people move, market flow, and see fulfills Governor Havata's prophetic statement. When we were opening the road from last stretch of road from Erave to Semberiki to Kikori, Governor Havata made a statement in Batri village, not Batri village, Semberiki village. Governor Havata said, now no longer will Highlanders come down, we must reverse the tide. Or Kikori must come on top of Salimul Islands. Exactly that woman fulfills this story. I just want to indicate as I come back. Stage one, Governor Bird is very intellectual. He knows exactly what he's asking. He's correct that we now are reaching the ceiling of stage one. We throw in Karamui, we throw in Ramu to Medeng, again Ramu Medeng, and few of those key missing links where people and economy activities are, then we would have gone past our stage one. I want to give indication to Governor that through this question we want to marry stage one and stage two. The second or third question he asked is it going to add to our debt profile? I want to give assurance to Governor that technically maybe so, but legally not so. The Connect PNG Act allows for 5.6% of every year's allocation to be quarantined to finance road infrastructure. And the Connect PNG Act and PFMA Act also allows for forward contracting. So when we issue this contract within the envelope of the 20-year lifespan of road infrastructure, under the Connect PNG Act, marrying stage one and stage two together, the contracts we issue do not go and affect the underlying debt profiling that Treasurer will be worrying about. Every year there will be a budget handed down. It will be wise on any government that comes on into the future. Stick to 5.6% as quarantine in Connect PNG Act. Finance those contracts that we issued, work through them, and allow our people to participate in the growth economy. Mr. Speaker, today you got Postcori headline on the windfall by number one super and even NASFAN, or NASFAN today, number one super the other day. 13%, 12%. Now you tell me where this is coming from. Papua LNG hasn't started as yet. Pasca hasn't started as yet. WAFI hasn't started as yet. This is coming from direct national government intervention to the economy with over 300 contractors stationed nationwide. Money given to districts and provinces for activities nationwide, as well as sustaining the economy. And what we want to do, these roads, as we invest in the next 20 years, they must get the cacao and everything out so that we together incubate our growth in the economy. So Connect PNG Act that quarantines 5.6% of any budget going forward prospectively must cover these contracts we issue, and we pay them out as we go throughout the year. Most roads, if not all roads that we've issued, are affected by budgets and a hybrid of combination. This year we have a program to work with BSV, a 600 million kina program locked in, and all lending that we've booked for this year, the last few years, Treasury is working to clear them out. So the next year we have no more borrowing, and purely on 5.6% of our budget support to Connect PNG will then just keep on financing these contracts out. Most of the international contractors, especially Chinese contractors that currently are engaged, have shown their ability to forward finance or forward do the work using their own balance sheets. And we've seen them, and the Works Department has procured the engagement at the backdrop of forward contracting that the tender requirements specified. So because they have the ability to finance the projects themselves, and state pay them out in 4, 5, 6 years, where they've been engaged in especially some of these major projects that we have running. So I want to give assurance to the Governor for Sepik. We understand the weight of the contracts that has been issued. We look into 5.6% of the economy in a growth economy going forward. You look at this year's budget, 30 billion kina, 5.6% of this. You look at next year, maybe 32 billion kina. So enveloping or modeling the 5.6% element of budget, we're giving out this contract, but there'll be a cap to stage one, and a few of these areas that should have been in stage two, we bring back into stage one. We lock them in. Next couple of years, if we finance them out, we are paying or lifting all parts of our country together instead of concentrating 1 or 2 areas as we have been in the past. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.